Good morning and welcome into the Lifeline Morning Show. I'm Steven. You know, I love to get your day started off on the right foot, and I use an inspiring quote to do that. But this morning, it's going to be a little different because the quote kind of inspired me to look back into TV history and find this little intro. I wonder if you remember this.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Steven, I can't believe you used a soap opera intro. Yes, I did, because it goes so well with today's quote from Jean Paul, who said, "The more sand that has escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we should see through it." Wow, that's a pretty profound statement, because when you think about it, we have limited time on this earth, as if an hourglass were running. Here's what I take from this. As we age, it's easier to see how God has worked through our lives, and He's still working. But isn't it cool to watch the ways that He's connected all the puzzle pieces? The different ways that He's used your life to intersect other people's lives and make their lives better? Or maybe your intersection has made them not so good. It's weird, right? But you look back on it and you learn from it. It's either that was the goodness of God or that was a huge mistake. I messed up and I need to fix that. And it just propels you forward. You know what I mean? So we can take our mortality as a way to inspire others, because at the end of it all, how you leave this earth matters. Will you have made an impact in the right way, or will you have made an impact in the wrong way? I know it's deep, but I believe in you. I know that you can make an impact in the right way. So maybe you've been making some bad decisions lately. It's time to stop. Let's make some better decisions. Hey, I'm preaching to myself. Let's do this thing. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Sometimes us guys, well, we get a little self-conscious. And we decide to ask our wife, to pep us up a little bit. Maybe we ask a question or two, and we expect some support. We expect to really get a little boost here because we're feeling pretty down on ourselves. Maybe we've let ourselves go a little bit. Maybe we're that full-figured dad bod. We got a little too much weight on us, or maybe that receding hairline or that bald spot, whatever it might be. Oh, goodness. And we decide, hey, let's give this a shot, see if it doesn't work. But every now and then, your wife can leave you a little there in the dirt. Here's a little bit of how that went down. Oh, take a listen to this.
Honey, you have to pick one. Do I get better hair or a better body?
Body. You have cheeseburger body long time. You don't have the hair. You don't have some reason for your hair fit.
Are you putting me down or giving me advice?
Down. All the way down.
Whatever.
That kind of backfired. So evidently he's got a cheeseburger body. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Oh, that keeps life interesting, doesn't it? Came across this graphic and I thought, this is too relatable. It's so good. It says, the older I get, the more I understand why roosters just scream to start their day. So when you think of an infestation, more than likely you think of critters that you don't want around, right? Like an infestation of cockroaches. I know some people just kind of, they cringed a little bit. I got you. I'm right there with you. Or maybe it's an infestation of termites. That can be costly. But this infestation is kind of strange because these things are so cute. What are they? Stick around. I'll tell you. Back when I was a kid, we had just gotten finished bush hogging the field. And while we were out there, we came across this den of rabbits. Yeah, the brindle kind. The wild kind of rabbits. But they were little bitty, and we decided we were going to try to hand raise them. So we tried. We had some straw. We tried to give them the right kind of food. We tried to make sure that they were taken care of. But here's the deal. When we found these bunnies, it was about the same time we were getting ready to go on our summer vacation. And we've got family in Florida, so we go down there most every summer. And so we took the rabbits with us. Yeah, we had a cardboard box, some straw, and we decided, hey, we'll keep caring for these guys. So we got them down to my aunt's house in Florida, and they just became a little much. And so let's just say that these bunnies didn't make it back home to Alabama. No, they found a new residence right there in Florida. And so when I saw this story right here, I kind of cringed a little bit myself. I'm like, oh no, are these the bunnies that we let go in the Tampa area. Is this infestation? Is that what's going on? Actually, no. These rabbits are just a little bit cuter than the ones that we dropped off in the Tampa area. Yeah, these are lion-headed rabbits. These things are the kind you'd find at a pet shop. And why are they an infestation now? Well, there's this lady who was breeding these rabbits, and she had a pretty big family of them, and of course she would sell them, but, she decided she was going to move. Well, she didn't take the rabbits with her and left them in the neighborhood. And so these lion-headed rabbits, they have just been a menace to the community. I say that lightly because who can look at a rabbit and think you're a menace, right? So the neighbors, all the people in the community, they've been stepping up and they've been feeding these rabbits. And they're kind of cute. You see 5 or 6 of them at a time, but here's the deal. It's just not sustainable for them to live in that environment. They have a really thick coat. It's not suitable for the Florida temperatures. So they're also causing a little bit of problems with chewing on wires and other things that are outside in the community. So the residents thought, these things are cute and all, but they gotta go. So they called the local officials, and the officials won't come out and do anything about them because these bunnies aren't posing any risk to local wildlife or to the residents. So they're like, no, deal with it. So there's a lady who's taken it upon herself to start a GoFundMe to help get these rabbits all the vet care that they need and get them rehomed. She has already raised $20,000 to take care of this situation. Way to step up and make sure these bunnies are taken care of. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's such a cute story. It's like, don't you want to have them around? But I understand. Sometimes there can be too much of a good thing. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. It's been a blast hanging out with you. I got your weather and your word of life coming up next. We love bringing you a word of life every day. Today it's from Isaiah 26, verse 4, in the New Living Translation of the Bible. Trust in the Lord always, for the Lord God is the eternal rock. What does that scripture say to you? I'll tell you what it tells me, that God is like the rock. I mean, he doesn't move. He can't be shaken. He can't be moved. He doesn't shift. I know that I'm secure if I'm fastened to him. Hey, why don't you share that word of life with somebody? And do the same thing I just did. Tell them what that scripture means to you. It's how you share your faith. We made it real easy for you to do it too. We've got it across all of our socials. That's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And it's at the top of our website, 885jfm.com. And while you're over on our website, you're going to notice we've got a concert coming up, Elevation Nights. It's Elevation Worship with Stephen Furtick, going to be in Birmingham at the BJCC Legacy Arena. You can click that banner for more info, and just above that banner is the On Now button. Click that and you can listen to us from wherever you happen to be. We'd love to keep you company all day long. Hey, I really do hope you're getting a great start to your work week. I got some more great music to put a little pep in your step. There are some pretty amazing things happening right here in our own community. I'm going to tell you about one of them coming up. It's going to have a little backstory on it too that I think you're going to love. It might just melt your heart. So stick around. We lived in a mobile home many years ago, and I got a call while I was at school. I was a non-traditional student at Jacksonville State University, and my daughter was in elementary school at Grassy. I got a call one day that my house was burning. I got out of school and drove to the house, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. You see, I had a poster of the footprints in the sand. It wasn't framed. It was just in a plastic wrap. The whole place was smoking except for that footprints in the sand. The plastic wasn't even melted on it. When I saw that, I knew that God was carrying us and that he had something better coming. He then put all the right people in our lives, and so we are proud owners of a Habitat home today. We know that we are always going to have a place to live, and I can't thank you enough. That is Regina Owens, a Habitat for Humanity homeowner. Let me tell you what Habitat for Humanity's been up to right here in our community. Last Thursday, they had a groundbreaking. No, they decided to call it a ground blessing because of how it was told by Executive Director Melissa Shell. She says, it's very touching to my heart because this is not just a job for me, it's a ministry. It's taken us a long time to get here. We've been working hard to raise funds to build this house, and it's been a lot. This board's worked tirelessly on fundraising, and I'm so thankful to work with these people because they support me in every way. And all of you who are here today, you're here because in some shape, form, or fashion, through the years you've supported us financially. We are running strictly off of your donations, so what is happening today is because of you. This home that is going up right now just happens to be here in Albertville, but the whole county of Marshall County has supported us, especially through the COVID years. It would have been very easy for us to just give up and not go on. We advertised this as a groundbreaking, but I want this to be a ground blessing. We're standing where the foundation of this home is going to go. In a few months, you're going to see the walls raised on a house, but inside that house will become a home. We haven't got our homeowner chosen just yet, but I want us to pray over this property. I want us to pray over this process in this house and pray for that person, that family that's going to be chosen to live here. We're standing on the foundation of their house, but we are also standing on the foundation of a new start for that person or that family. Wow. How cool is that? I just had to bring you this news. This happened last Thursday, by the way, this ground blessing. And I had to share it because we hear so much about the bad stuff happening in this world. It's refreshing to hear about something good. And this is something that you can get involved with. Habitat for Humanity, right here in Marshall County. Hey, you can find the whole story over at sandmountainreporter.com. It's on their main page. It's the first story in the lineup. So if you want to check it out, it's some really good news. I just had to tell you about it. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. More great music headed your way. Plus, I've got the story of a little girl who's doing a little something to help the homeless in her community. That's coming up later on. So stick around and prepare to get a little more inspired. Here's Phil Wickham. This is Our God right here on the Lifeline on your 88.5 JFM, making your day better. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me. It really means a lot that you're here. Whether you're listening to us on the radio or on the stream, you're a part of our story. Seems like it doesn't matter where you are. If you're trying to tune in a radio station, or maybe you're deciding to watch a little TV, or maybe you want to see something on YouTube, there are ads everywhere. I've kind of gotten sick of these on YouTube. It's like, it's not one anymore, it's 2 or 3, right? Anyway, everybody is always vying for our attention, right? I get it. This is how a lot of places make money, those ads. They bring in some dollars. They make sure they can continue working. I completely get that. We're a little different here at this radio station. We don't have advertisers. We have partners, and we don't have ads. We have announcements. It's a little bit different. I don't know if you've ever caught on to that, but yeah, you'll never hear the buy now or 50% off, stuff like that, or there's a big sale. No, we can't do that as a non-com station, so we have to be very selective as to how we try to get your attention, but we're always trying to help support our local business impact partners who help us continue doing what we do. So you get it. But when you're bombarded with all these ads and all these people trying to get your attention, what should you really be focusing on? What should you pay attention to in the middle of all that? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I came across Coach Chris Hogan over on TikTok, and he's got quite a lot of inspirational stuff, this content he puts out, and this is just one of them. Again, Coach Chris Hogan over on TikTok, if you want to check him out. Here's what he has to say.
Hey everybody, you know how we have things that are constantly vying for our attention? I mean, constantly, from the TV commercials to all kinds of ads everywhere we turn around and look. Well, I want to give you 3 things that you definitely want to pay attention to. I'm serious, and this is going to be ad-free, by the way. All right, the first thing you want to pay attention to is genuine encouragement. This is someone uplifting you, trying to encourage you to be able to propel you forward in your career or in your life. The next thing you want to pay attention to is genuine feedback. This is someone trying to help you to grow, someone giving you some information that you can use to help you go further, faster. And the final thing you definitely want to pay attention to is pure joy. You want to be able to sense that someone's excited for them, but they're also excited for you.
That's the 3 C's by Coach Chris Hogan. Hey, if you want to hear that again, I just want to remind you, we put the show up after the show as a podcast every day at around 10:15. And hey, now we're on Spotify as well. So just search Lifeline Morning Show Podcast and you can find it right there. We're going to be having some fun this morning, especially at the top of the hour. I'm going to have your chance to win some ice cream And it's on some facts and figures about how much milk a cow produces. What? I think one of the biggest struggles I've ever had is trying to figure out the will of God. I think maybe I was a little misguided in it because I never quite looked at it in this perspective until I got a little older and looked at it from the opposite direction. You see, I was so focused on, what God had for my life. I was less focused on what I was doing in the meantime. It's like I was looking for some kind of event. Yeah. Take a listen to this. It's Brian Trent from Hampton, South Carolina. He's got something to say about the will of God.
If you've been praying for God's will, this might just help you. Now, if you're like me when it comes to God's will, there's days that I feel like I'm 100% on top of it, and the next day I'm chasing my tail. Here it is. You ready? It's found in 1 Thessalonians 5. Rejoice always, pray continuously, and give thanks in every circumstance. For this is God's will in Christ Jesus. The first time I read that, I was like, wait, I'm a little disappointed. I'm just being honest, because I was thinking more like walking on water or sleeping with lions. I was thinking this seemed a little too simple and maybe God's will was a little bit more complicated. But then after thinking about it a few days, I thought I've been praying for God's will like it's an event. And God was showing me that his will was much more than that. And that his will is a lifestyle. See, because when we're living in a state of rejoicing, that means we're constantly choosing joy. And when we learn to be joyful in all things, God shows us even greater things. But it says to pray continually. I mean, I have to sleep, right? But prayer is just communication between us and God, and that line needs to stay open all the time. God desires to hear from you, and our longing is to hear from God. But then it says, give thanks in all circumstances. But it doesn't say for all circumstances, because some circumstances are just crappy. But I can still give thanks in them because I know that in all things, God is working them out to their good. See, because when I stay in a state of consistent rejoicing, prayer, and giving thanks, God's will becomes more than an event, it becomes a lifestyle. My very life becomes the will of God. The events will happen, but God has designed you for more than one event. You're a walking, breathing, full of life child of the Most High. That's how we live God's will out each and every day.
Wow, pretty cool, right? Hey, I've got the story for you of one 8-year-old. Her name is Lila, and she is doing a pretty good job of kind of doing the best she can until she finds that perfect will, her purpose for life. I'll tell you more about her coming up soon.
Like deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, lotion, Band-Aids, and etc.
That little guy has been inspired to do some great stuff by one 8-year-old whose name is Lila. I'm going to tell you her story coming up next, and you're going to love it. Tulsa, Oklahoma is home to an 8-year-old who is making an enormous impact in her community. You see, she went to a parade recently, and she saw some people who didn't look so happy. They weren't having fun at the parade, and the people she saw were the homeless people. They're there on the streets all the time, and everybody decided to join them for the big parade. But you see, the sad faces really touched Lila's heart. So here's what she did.
I thought that they might have a lot of fun at the fair, so I just thought of that idea and I told my mom, and she said it's a great idea. So I'm going to bring them to the fair.
Lila Thomas has launched Fair Share. With the help of her mom, she is making this happen. And now, how is she doing it? Well, she is raising money to take these people off the streets to the fair. Now, she's partnered up with some pretty cool organizations in her area. Some caseworkers, some people to make sure that these homeless people who are chosen are taken care of. A little dignity and a whole lot of fun to be had at the state fair. I think it's huge that this little girl saw a need. She stepped up and said, Mom, I want to do this. And Mom, well, let's just say that she's pretty proud of her daughter.
I'm beaming of just so happy that, she has such a compassionate heart. And it also doesn't surprise me. She has been compassionate since day one and has always just had a soft spot and a very vigilant eye to those around her on just seeing who's left out and who needs a friend.
And it's not just adults taking notice about what Lila's up to. We see one of her friends decided to put together some goodie bags for these people who get to go to the fair.
Like deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, lotion, Band-Aids, and etc.
Isn't it amazing how one little act of kindness can snowball into something huge? So my question for you today is, what act of kindness are you going to do? How are you going to make somebody's day better? Are you going to do something great like Lila, the 8-year-old? She's inspiring us all, isn't she? Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Stick around. So here we are. It's 8 o'clock. You know what that means, right? It's time for some kid cuisine. Yeah, our kids, they're home at least for a little while longer, and they get bored and they get hungry, and those two things mixed together in the kitchen makes for some pretty interesting recipes. We call them kid cuisine. They could be culinary concoctions. They could be culinary crimes. Let's see. They could be really good, or they could be really, really bad. And most of the time, these things look awful, but if there's one thing I've learned, don't knock it till you try it, right? So today's kid cuisine is a mashup. Now, let me preface this by saying that Lunchables are amazing. They're a great snack, right? When we go to the grocery store, I ask my daughter, all right, what kind of Lunchable would you like? Because she likes to munch on these things, and she's gotten a little sophisticated as of late. She doesn't go for just the straight Lunchable. Now she goes for the Hillshire Farm elevated Lunchable with the hard or the Genoa salami and the cheese curds or the olives. It's really neat, right? Some of them even have gherkins in there. So, hey, I'm all good with it as long as she eats it, because sometimes it's like pulling teeth trying to get my daughter to eat. So she loves the salami. Now, she always passes on the cheese. She doesn't like that part. But the other stuff, good to go. Well, this is kind of taking that salami, putting it between two slices of bread. And then another of my daughter's favorite snacks, strawberries. Yeah, sliced strawberries. And that's where it gets me, this concoction, because it's sliced salami topped with sliced strawberries between two pieces of bread. It's a strawberry and salami sandwich. I don't know if this will work. Like I said, don't knock it till you try it. It doesn't look very appealing, but I don't know. You be the judge. If you try it, let me know. But hey, I really want to hear your kids' weirdest concoction in the kitchen. If you would, please go over to our Facebook page. You'll find this pinned at the top. It's 88.5_JFM. And once you go there, you'll see all of these different recipes we've shared all summer long. We want your comments, your kids' weirdest concoction. We want you to tell us the story. Show us a picture, and we want to talk about it on the radio. We'll have some fun with it, okay? Hey, speaking of having fun, we're going to be doing a little more of that coming up in the next few minutes, because I've got a chance for somebody to win some ice cream from Jaden's Ice Cream Truck. So be listening for your chance to call in and answer my question to win. It's coming up very shortly. And thanks so much for hanging out with me. Sorry if some of these recipes are kind of weird, but hey, it is what it is, right? That sound just makes me happy. And I live in Arab, and I'm happy to say I've heard Jaden's Ice Cream Truck coming through my community more than a time or two. And yes, it gets my attention every single time. Gotta go out there and get something, right? I really like the Mississippi Mud ice cream sandwiches. Those things are delicious. But hey, I wonder what your favorite ice cream is. Well, you might be able to enjoy some of it if you answer my question. Yeah, to win a $10 voucher for Jaden's Ice Cream. So I thought, we've been doing ice cream questions all summer long. Let's just keep it going. So this is one of the main ingredients in ice cream. And my question comes down to this. All right. How many gallons of milk does it take to make 1 gallon of ice cream? Does it take 1, 2, or 3? The number to call, 256-505-0885. Again, 256-505-0885. Call me up first and correctly with this answer. How many gallons of milk does it take to make 1 gallon of ice cream? Is it 1, 2, or 3? And you're going to win a $10 voucher to Jaden's Ice Cream. 256-505-0885. There is my caller. I'm going to capture it. Stay on the phone line with me while I start this next song, and I'll get your answer. Here's Casting Crowns with Love Moved First. Good morning.
Morning.
How's it going?
Doing fine.
Good. I haven't heard from you in a while, Richard. How's everything going with the little one?
They're doing good.
Very good, man. Glad to hear it. So, do you enjoy some ice cream?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite flavor?
I like cookies and cream.
Ooh, that's good stuff. Yeah. Well, it takes a lot of ingredients to make that ice cream. I used to love how we could do that in science class. We get a couple of Ziplocs, we'll get some rock salt and some ice and get a little cream and all the other stuff. And we kind of, they keep us busy for 15 minutes shaking that stuff. But finally, at the end, it paid off. We had ice cream. But if you're talking about a gallon of ice cream, how much milk? How many gallons of milk does it take to make 1 gallon of ice cream? Is it 1, 2, or 3?
I'm hoping I'm right. I really don't pay attention what's how much it is, but I'm going to say probably 2 gallons.
2 gallons. That's a valiant effort, but it's not the one I'm looking for, man. I'm sorry.
Well, at least I tried.
Better luck next time.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one, man. Thanks so much for
You
listening.
too, man.
All right, bye. So it's still open. The question is, how many gallons of milk does it take to make 1 gallon of ice cream? Does it take 1 or 3? 256-505-0885 is the number to call. Richard just took one of them off the board. Is it 1 or 3? And I got my caller. All right, I'm capturing it now. Stay on the phone line with me while I start this next song. I'll get your answer. Here's Katie Nicole with Hold On. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
But how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Is this Jimmy Udi?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jimmy. It's so funny because when I hear from one of you Udis, I always hear from 2 or 3 more. I love how this works. So I know you like some ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
All right. What's your favorite flavor?
Cookie dough.
Cookie dough. Oh, yes. All right, man. Well, got this question for you. I don't think a lot of people think about how much milk it takes to make 1 gallon of ice cream, but how much does it take? 1 or 3?
3.
3 gallons of milk. Congratulations, sir. You just won yourself a $10 voucher to Jaden's Ice Cream. What do you think about that?
Awesome.
I think it's awesome, too. Hey, who knows? Your little girl might be able to enjoy some of that. How is she doing these days?
Doing good.
Good. Yeah, man. I've enjoyed watching her grow up there on Facebook, man. All right, so let me make sure that I have your address, and I will get this voucher sent your way, all right?
Okay.
Jimmy Lee Udi winning this morning. It's been a while since I heard from them. Hey, you know what? This reminds me of something. I used to hear from them a lot on the car line competition. Last I heard, the school year is starting pretty soon, and usually that means that we get to have some more fun here in the 7 o'clock hour for the drive time, car line competition. And it's so much fun. It's a blast. And hopefully I'll be hearing more from him and his wife and Richard and all the Udi clan coming up for that as well. So, hey, but you've got more chances to win some stuff this summer. You know, we're going to keep this going all summer long, right? Plus, we've got Point Mallard passes, family 4-pack passes to give away on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And on Wednesdays, it's like Winning Wednesday, a family 4-pack to their amusement park and water park. So you got a chance to win all summer long. I just had to tell you about that. So be listening tomorrow in the 8 o'clock hour for your chance to win some passes to Point Mallard Water Park over in Decatur. If you've never been there, let me tell you, it is a fun time. I used to go there as a kid, and it's really grown since I came up all those years ago. Really cool stuff out there. A big thank you to all of our partners who helped make this happen. Just trying to give you a little fun, make some memories with the kids during the summer that will last a lifetime. Thanks for hanging out with me today here on the Lifeline Morning Show. All right. Hey, I've got some more facts for you if you want them. I thought this was pretty interesting. I'm kind of a facts and figures kind of guy. Did you know that one milk cow produces about 6 gallons of milk a day? If you do the math on that, that means that one cow could produce enough milk for you to make 730 gallons of ice cream a year. That's a lot of ice cream. That made me a happy camper. How about you? Here's Micah Tyler with Never Been a Moment right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. Tripp and Sarah, so in love. But you know, this time of year brings about a lot of ideas. Ideas as to what beauty is, especially when it comes to getting out there on the beach. Are you comfortable in your own skin? I know a lot of people who aren't quite enthused by what they see as they pass by the mirror. I got you. But hey, I've got to read you a little bit of what Tripp wrote about his wife on Instagram. Now, he put a picture up with this. It's both of them on the beach together, and this is what he had to say. I love this woman and her curvy body. As a teenager, I was often teased by my friends for my attraction to girls on the thicker side, ones who were shorter and curvier, girls that were average, a basic bro might refer to as chubby or even fat. Then as I became a man and started to educate myself on issues such as how the media marginalizes women by portraying a very narrow and very specific standard of beauty, thin, tall, lean, I realized just how many men have bought into that lie. For me, there's nothing more attractive than this woman right here. Thick thighs, cute little side roll, etc. Her shape and size won't be the one featured on the cover of Cosmopolitan, but it's the one featured in my life and in my heart. There's nothing more attractive to me than a woman who is both curvy and confident. This gorgeous girl I'm married. Fills out every inch of her jeans and is still the most beautiful one in the room. Guys, rethink what society has told you that you should desire. A real woman is not a bikini mannequin or a movie character. She's real. She has beautiful stretch marks on her hips. Girls, don't ever fool yourself by thinking you have to fit a certain mold to be loved and appreciated. There's a guy out there who is going to celebrate you for exactly who you are. Someone who will love you like I love my Sarah. Oh, I love that. Man, I'm telling you, he is so right. And you see, I have a daughter, she's 8 years old, and I see what's happening and how women are marginalized and how all of these magazines and every TV ad is showing my daughter that she has to fit a certain mold to be attractive or to be popular. And I love what Tripp had to say right there because it's true. And I just had to share it with you this morning. It is the age of the Karen. If your name is Karen, I am so sorry that your name has been chosen as the name for the most rude people out there in this world. We're going to talk about Karens, the bad ones, coming up next. Barbara posted this on Twitter recently, and it's gained a lot of attention. We're talking about 2.4 million views so far. She says, my daughter's a server in a high-end Los Angeles restaurant. She got asked by another server who was slammed with tables to deliver water to one of his tables. As she set the water down, the customer's appetizers arrived. And the lady got belligerent and started hurling insults at my daughter that the service was terrible, unacceptable, blah, 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 blah. My daughter empathized over the poor timing, which was not her fault, as it wasn't her table, and offered to check on her drinks. Well, the woman insulted her a few more times and demanded to speak with the manager. So as she went to go check on these drinks, the male date of the woman met the manager on the floor before he reached the table. He asked to close out the tab, explained it was a first date and that the woman's behavior disgusted him. He paid the tab and then requested my daughter and the original server come talk to him. He apologized profusely for his date's behavior. Needless to say, everyone was floored in the best way. The woman had somehow been informed that the date was over. She walked out, head down, and was no longer talking down to anyone. Be kind. But more than that, stand up for what is right. If you let a Karen slide, you're also a Karen. Word of the apology spread through the restaurant staff and lifted the morale of the entire team that night. Well done, sir, whomever you are. According to my daughter, the man is in his 30s and yes, good looking. So, hey, ladies. You know, it is so true that is such a turnoff. Treating people as less than. It's funny how close this story hits home for me. You see, my wife, daughter, and I were shoe shopping recently at the shoe department in Gunnersville. And as we approached the counter, we witnessed another Karen customer on the phone. And you could tell that this person was really getting agitated because, well, the employee was having to kind of repeat herself. And the employee was not being rude at all. In fact, my daughter commented. Now, keep in mind, Grace is 8 years old. And she said, yep, that was a Karen. To which one of the employees there said, oh, really? Do you know a Karen who's not nice? She said, actually, yes. And she started to, and her mom just covered her mouth real quick. It's funny how your kids can embarrass you in public. They almost got an earful about a Karen in my daughter's life. And let's just say we're glad that chapter's closed. Anyway, we got to choose to be kind. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Lifeline Morning Show. A little understanding goes a long way, doesn't it? Coming up here on the show, we're going to talk about just how hard it is to be a stay-at-home parent and one husband's message for every dad out there who's ever said anything derogatory to their wife about being a stay-at-home mom. Yep, he has learned his lesson, and I'll tell you more about it coming up soon. Stick around. Dustin is a man's man. We're talking about a guy who's been on the police force for 10 years. He's a Muay Thai fighter. Everything about him screams testosterone and manliness. Yet something has brought him to his knees that ladies do just about every day. Want to hear what it is? Yeah, stick around. I'll tell you next. He's got a message for every dad everywhere. It's the one thing you never want to hear as a soon-to-be parent. The doctor come into the room and say, I'm sorry, but there seems to be some complications. That's exactly where Darcy and Dustin found themselves. At 26 weeks, the doctor had to take the baby because Darcy had developed preeclampsia. This was a rough road because their little daughter, Ivy, spent 4 months in the NICU before being allowed to come home. And then Dustin says it was just best for their family if he stayed home with Ivy. And that is what I want to talk about. You see, there are ladies who do this every day in, day out, for an entire childhood. These stay-at-home moms. And so many times, they don't get the recognition they deserve because it is so hard to take care of these little ones. In fact, Dustin, he took to Facebook and he had a little message for all those dads out there. He says, all my married with children dudes on here, listen up. After having to be a stay-at-home parent since February, I got a public service announcement. If you've ever given your wife grief about being home with the kid all day while you slaved away at work, you go straight home and apologize. I tip my hat to you ladies. Only a couple months of this has dang near killed me. Yeah. And this guy is a 10-year veteran on his police force. He's like an MMA fighter. He's super manly. And he's having a tough time with this whole stay-at-home dad thing. So, all you ladies, thank you for what you do and how you do it. Because I think God has gifted you with some kind of special abilities that only moms have. How you can keep it all together and not just run away. I have no idea, but you make it work. And you dads who are having to make it work on your own too, or you're having to be the stay-at-home dad, hey, you are doing what needs to be done to make sure your child has a great future. So sometimes people look at this kind of weird, this family dynamic, like the guy's supposed to be out there working, the wife's supposed to be the stay-at-home mom, or if it's done the other way, lots of times the guy's looked down on. It's like, why aren't you out there working, bud? But you see, in this instance, the wife actually makes a lot of money. Yeah, she is a clinical scientist, so it just made sense for this situation. Anyway, I just wanted to share a little love with all you stay-at-home parents out there. You're doing an amazing job, and don't worry about what other people think. If it's a kind of strange situation to them, they have no clue what's going on. Their opinion doesn't matter, okay? All right. You just keep doing what you know you got to do for your family. So are you a go-getter, or are you I'll get around to it when I get around to it, not in any real hurry kind of person? Well, it's good to own it either way. We'll talk about that coming up after Zach Williams. This may really depend on what kind of mood you're in, whether you're a go-getter or you're just I'll get around to it when I get around to it kind of person. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? But it can be so frustrating if you're in a hurry, but the person in front of you, well, they're not in a hurry. It happens all the time out there on 431, right? Or wherever you drive. For me, it's Highway 69 between Arab and Coleman. It's a 2-lane road, and my goodness, if these people don't go, I get so frustrated. My little girl's like, honk your horn, Dad. I'm like, no. That's just going to make them mad, and it's not going to help me either. So anyway, but if you're going to be that way, if you're going to take your time, I guess own it. I came across this on the socials, and I thought it is so true for so many people.
There's one thing about me is that I'm going to dilly-dally. I am a dilly-dallyer. You got 5 errands? I can do maybe 2, and it's going to take 5 hours. What am I up to? I'm dilly-dallying.
To dilly-dally. Mm-hmm. What are some other words for that? Let's see. I looked up the synonyms. Yeah, to dawdle, to loiter, to linger, to take one's time, to delay, to mark time. Wow. Well, own it, I guess. Wanted to shout out some people listening to us on the stream. I see you listening to us from Palm Coast, Florida, Joel Modest. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Also, we've got Wichita, Kansas hanging out with us. Montgomery, Alabama is in the house. Birmingham is listening, as well as Boaz, Albertville, Gunnersville, Arab, and Skyline, Alabama, as well as some of our friends across the ocean in Helsinki, Finland. Thanks for making us part of your day. Well, I absolutely love seeing news stories, the ways that our local libraries are really reaching into our communities and bringing some new stuff. I want to tell you a little bit about what Boaz Library has been up to here lately. It's a pretty neat thing, and it's something you might just want to get involved with. So stick around. We'll get into it coming up shortly, right here on the Lifeline Morning Show. But first, here's Mercy Me and To Not Worship You. Earlier this summer, I saw something that really took me off guard. You see, my little girl and my wife Cassie, they ended up going to the library in Arab, right? Because Grace is wanting to brush up on her reading. She's going into 3rd grade, and so she wanted some books. She wants to kind of work on her accelerated reader points over the summer as well. And, you know, the library, they have programs available for if you read so many books and you get like a pool party, that kind of thing. So she's been working on that. But the thing that she brought home that really caught my attention was something I didn't even know existed. It's called a Play Away. Have you heard of this? It's like a battery-powered device that accompanies the book that your child gets from the library, so they can listen to it being read to them as they follow along the words on the page. It's a really cool way of kind of figuring out some of those tougher words, you know, because from 2nd to 3rd grade, there's still quite a lot of complicated words out there. Hey, I'm 40, and some of these words still get me from time to time. But I love when libraries bring even more resources to help our kids out. And let's be honest, with the advent of the internet and how there's so many sources for books out there online, digital books, you think, well, what is the library even there for anymore? Well, it's a great resource for our communities. And I want to tell you what the Boaz Public Library has been up to here lately. They kind of tapped into what I like to call granny power. Because I think grandmothers are the people who most effectively communicate through their cooking. You know what I mean? You can taste the love in whatever they cook. Well, recently they had their own librarian, Donna De La Pera, come in and make something. It's these pizzelle cookies, and she got to tell about where the pizzelle cookie came from and all the intricacies, all the facts and figures about the cookie. Got to show these kids and adults alike, hey, this is how you make them. And of course, there were samples. You had to get something out of it, right? So people got a sweet treat and got to learn a little history lesson at the same time. And this particular program that they started is called Let's Cook Together, and it is really growing. So much so, the library is looking into buying a cooking cart that'll provide the staff with the tools they need to further expand the class. So the next one is coming up in September, and the library hasn't decided on what they'll be making just yet. So if you have suggestions, you can always give them a call. Again, that's the Boaz Public Library. But how cool is that? Let's cook together. I love it. Well, that's going to wrap it up for me today here on the Lifeline Morning Show. I hope you've had a great morning so far. I hope you have a great rest of your day as well. And thanks so much for hanging out here. Hey, you know, I would love to go ahead and wrap this up with the same thing I started it off with, and that is your inspiring quote of the day. And hey, just in case you didn't know, I love posting those over on Twitter, and I post them up on our YouTube posts 5 days a week. So you can go over there and check it out. But here's what today's says. The more sand that has escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we should see through it. You know, what it says to me is, as we age, it's easier to see how God has worked through our lives, and He's still working. It's amazing to me how He uses us to touch other people's lives. So, hey, at the end of it, I think maybe you really want to focus on how you've impacted the lives of other people, right? Have you left a great impression, or is it not so good? And, you know, if maybe you've been making those wrong choices lately, it's time to stop that. And let's make the right ones. Let's leave a lasting legacy. Let's watch God work through our lives. Hey, I believe in you. Keep up the good work.